Hello guys, welcome back. Today we'll be looking into the bottom-up approach for our subset sum problem. In case we haven't seen the previous video, there we talk about the top-down and brute force approach and how to get the actual solution subset for our subset sum problem. So I suggest you watch that video before you get into this. So the subset sum problem, you have been given with a set of integers and a total sum value. You need to find out if there exists any subset of integers that will sum up to the given sum value. Okay, so in this example, this is the given set. There is a subset with value 4 and 5 that can sum up to 9. So the output is true. Yes, there exists a subset. And by the way, there can be multiple subsets. So we can also get a sum of 9 by doing 4 plus 2 plus 3. Okay, so there are multiple subsets. So that is our subset sum problem. Now let's solve it in the bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach is one where we start from the smallest sub-problem. Okay, usually when here we have been given with an array, so this whole thing is our problem space. Now we start with the smallest sub-problem. What is the smallest sub-problem? Let's say a set with no elements, that is the smallest problem, or a sum value with a sum value of 0. Okay, so we start by solving from the smallest sub problem. Here we are visualizing this in the form of a table because our top-down approach had two varying elements in the recursion. Okay, in the recursion it depended on two variables, so it makes sense to visualize the bottom-up approach in a tabular manner. That's why we have a table of elements here. Here along the column I am representing the items in our array, that is the set, and along the row I am representing the sum values, all possible values for sum. Okay, so as you might know, in the bottom approach we solve all the problems while starting from the smallest sub problem. Okay, so to solve all the problems we need to first write all the values of some elements till the given problem. Okay, so let's say here the given problem has a sum value till 9, and we go on solving for all possible combinations of sum values and the subset of array, the array that we have considered. So that is why it makes sense to visualize this in the form of a table. Alright, let's start with the filling of this table. Now in the first row, here we are considering that sub problem where our set, the given set, has no elements. Okay, it has 0 elements, none. Okay, now in this case, here in this row we go on writing the solution whether there is a subset that forms the given sum value. Okay, for every sum value that we consider. Now to get a sum value of 0, when we have an empty set of integers, there is a subset that is an empty set which will sum up to value 0. Okay, 0 value does not need anything, and all the other sum values we cannot get a subset because our set doesn't contain any value, any integer. Okay, so we cannot sum up. Now coming to the second row, we are considering that sub problem which has only one item, that is 3. Okay, so assume that the whole problem had only set 3, a set contain only 3, and we go on solving all the problems for all the sum values. Okay, if it had only 3, then to sum up to value 0 it's possible. To sum up to 1 it's not possible because 3 is greater than 1. Okay, similarly for 2 it's not possible. For 3 we can include 3 in our subset solution so that the total sum becomes equal to 3. The solution for this is true. For a given set only containing 3 as the element, there are only two possible subsets, that is one where only 3 is contained and another is the empty set. Okay, so we have we cannot get the sum value for all the other values. Now coming to the third row, this means that we are considering all the sub problems where only these two elements are included, the empty set and 3 and 34. Okay, our set contains only 3 and 34. Alright guys, I think we can safely write true for the entire column where we need to sum up to value 0, because regardless of whatever element is there in your set, we can always sum up to 0. Okay. Anyway, considering this second row, we can't sum up to 1, we cannot sum up to 2, but we can sum up to 3. Okay, here if you look at the choice that we are taking, we had two choices when we looked at the top down approach or the brute force approach. We had, for every element that we were considering, that we considered, there was two choices to make. One is we include that particular item in the solution subset, or we exclude it. Okay, so here also if you think about it, 34 we cannot include because 3 is less than 34. So what do? We exclude 34 and see out of the remaining elements in the set, that is only remaining element is 3, is there a subset that is possible which sums up to 3? Yes, true, there is a subset. Okay, so we just copy the element in the previous row, because by excluding 34, that means we are just looking at the previous row. When we exclude 34, we look at the previous row and some value remains constant. If you remember the way in which we solved the top down approach, when we exclude, the sum remains constant, but when we include, we are subtracting the current value from the sum. Okay, since the sum value is 3 is less than 34, we cannot subtract 34 from 3. Okay, so we just take the value from the previous row. Similarly, for other values, 34, by excluding 34, we cannot form a subset that sums up to 4. So we say false. Also, we cannot include 34 because it's greater than 4. Similarly, for all these elements, that's the same case. Coming to the next row, here also our choices continue and we reach the third column. So here we check if we can make a subset out of the given set. Now, when we look at the third row, this row, here we are considering a sub-problem that has only elements 3, 34 and 4. Okay. So here we check if we can sum up to value 3. Is there a subset? Yes, there is a subset. By excluding 4, we are checking if there is a subset that sums up to value 3. Yes, there was a subset. Turns out there was a subset before. So we just copy the value from the previous row. Now here, let's look at the two choices. By excluding 4, was there a subset that sums up to value 4 before with just the two elements 3 and 34? No, there was no such subset. Okay, so we cannot take that choice. So comparing with this with the top down approach, our exclude would have become false. Okay, in this case. Now let's see if we can include 4. By including 4, what are we doing? By including 4, comparing again with the top down approach, we are decrementing the sum from the current value. That is, when we include 4 in our solution set, when we include 4 in our solution set, we just need to check out of all the remaining elements, is there a value that sums up to 0? Because by including 4, our remaining sum will become 4 minus 4, that is 0. Was there a subset that sums up to the remaining value? What is the remaining? Remaining was sum minus the current element, that is sum 4 minus the current element 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. So if you look at this column and this row, that is the previous row, out of the remaining elements 3 and 34, was there a subset? Yes, there was a subset. So what are we doing? Our include is true, our exclude is false. We are just taking a binary OR, right? So OR of false and true is true. That's how we can write true. We are already beginning to see a pattern. This is wonderful. Okay, now coming to the next element onwards, we can't make 5 because by excluding 4, we could not make. All right, by including 4, can we get a subset? By including 4, the remaining sum is 5 minus 4, that is 1. So if you look at this, out of all the remaining elements, could we get a subset that sums up to 1? No, we could not get it. So Whether we include 4 or exclude 4 in our subset, it does not matter. So we can't sum up to 5. Similarly for 6, for 7, let's look at this. Okay, by excluding 4 we could not do it. By including 4 we have 7 out of, we just need to check out of the remaining sum. See, 7 minus 4 is 3. Out of remaining sum, was there a subset out of the remaining elements 3 and 34 that sums up to 3? Yes, there was. Okay, so we take binary OR and we just write true. Okay, similarly for all these cases we get false. Alright, if we consider this row, that means our sub problem now contains these 4 elements 3, 34, 4 and 12, and here I have filled the table for you. Now I think we can take a shortcut here, guys, by if you look at this row, then what we were doing every time was we were checking by excluding 5. That means we were looking at the previous row, and if that previous row was true, we were copying the same thing to the next row, right? So we can safely assume that all the rows after any cell, all the cells below a cell that has true will always be true. Okay, so I have safely written true here. Now considering these elements, either by including or excluding, we cannot do. We cannot include because 5 is greater than 1 and 2. Now coming to this row, by excluding 5 out of remaining elements, we could not find a subset, so it was false. By including 5 minus 5 is 0, we go to the 0th column and see out of remaining elements, was there a subset that sum up to 0? Yes, there was. So we write true, and safely we can copy true for all the other elements. Similarly for 6, by excluding no, by including I don't think so, no, it's false. For 8, 5 plus 3 becomes 8, it is possible. By including 5, 8 minus 5 is 3. Let's go to the 3rd column and previous row. Yes, out of all the remaining elements, it was possible to get 3. Okay, so we write true. And similarly, let's apply shortcut and write true. For 9 also, 5 and 4, 9 minus 5 is 4. For 4th column, there was true, and we copy the same thing, so all these become true. 6 is possible. 6 minus 6 is 0. We write true, and so on, guys. Okay, so this is how we filled the bottom-up approach table. Now looking at this pattern, it's clear, it must have been clear how we can solve the bottom-up approach. After solving the bottom-up approach, let's also find the actual subset along with just saying whether there is a subset possible or not. Alright, let's code the solution that we just visualized through the table. Here we need a 2-dimensional memory to represent this table, but you know what, we don't actually need a table to solve this problem. We can just solve this using big O of n space only. I mean to say big O of some space. We actually just need an array to solve this problem. But just before we see that big O of some solution, let's just solve it through the normal approach, the approach where we discussed just now, and let's take a 2-dimensional array to represent our variables. Let's start by traversing each row. Our I starts from 0 and goes all the way up to the given value of n. Here n is 6, the size of the array, and so the I represents the subset, the number of elements in the subset that we are considering. Okay, and the j represents the actual values of sum. Okay, so the sum values we consider till the given value of sum, and we go on filling our tables. Okay, initially what do we do? If the sum value is 0, that means if j is 0, whenever the sum value is 0, it's always possible to have a subset. So we store the table cell value as true. Okay, that means 1. It's better to use a boolean here. Okay, so we just store as true. When we are at the first row, Here we are considering a subset with no elements, so you can never make any subset that can sum up to these sum values. Okay, so if we are at the first row, that means I is 0, then we store false, because all these values will be false. Okay, so these correspond to our base condition. If none of this is true, what do? Else if I is equal to 0, we store false. Okay, if none of this is true, what do? This corresponds to filling all these values. Okay, values from first row and first column till all the way till the last cell. Okay, what do? We consider two sub problems and take binary OR. Okay, what are those two sub problems? One sub problem corresponds to excluding the current item. So when we exclude, we just copy the value from the previous row and the same column. Okay, so J here represents the sum value from 0 till the given sum, and we take a binary OR. Okay, we copy the previous row, but here we take the reduced sum value. This is the inclusion choice. When we include, we need to check out of all the remaining elements and the reduced sum, was there a subset that was possible. Okay, so we take J minus the current item. What is the current item? It's array of I minus 1. Why I minus 1, you might ask. Here I represents the number of elements in the set that we are considering. Okay, in our array we only had 6 elements, but here in our table we are considering I as the number of elements. That's why we are going from I is equal to 0 till I reaches equal to n, not I just I less than n. Okay, we are taking I as the number of elements. So naturally the index, when we get the index, we do I minus 1. Okay, so this is that inclusion choice, and when we take OR, we get the solution of that particular cell. Okay, what is the final solution? The final solution is the value in the last cell. Okay, corresponding to 6th row and 9th column, or corresponding to the nth row and sumth column. Okay, now if we execute this, we get a solution of 1. Okay, which is what the example problem here gives. Similarly, if the sum is 0, if the sum is 30, we get an output of 0. Okay, because it's not possible to have a subset, any subset which will sum up to 0. Alright, let's look at the time and space complexity, guys. We are using a 2-dimensional chunk of memory, so space complexity is big O of sum into n, where n is the size of the array, that is the subset, and sum is the given value of sum. We need a table which is of dimension sum into n. Okay, so that is the space complexity, and also the time complexity. We have a loop that goes from 0 till the number of elements n, and another loop which goes from 0 to sum. Okay, so this is the time and space complexity. But can we do better, guys? Can we do better? Yes, we can. But before we do that, let's just print all the subsets that are possible, okay, for the given value of sum. Alright, how to find all these subsets here? Unlike the knapsack problem, where we only needed to find the subset, only one single set, that was the only solution. Here there are multiple subsets. Okay, so here we can do something like breadth first search by taking a queue, or a depth first search by using some stack. Okay, so let's see how we can get to know about all these solution subsets. Okay, so here the given problem, that is the has a sum of 9. We start by at the last cell. Okay, here when this is true, we look at both the choices. Okay, If you look at the previous row, that is true. That means by excluding 2, there was a subset. Okay, by excluding, so there is one subset. So we can take a recursive path in that direction. And let's also see, by including 2, was there another subset? Okay, by including 2, what does that mean? By including 2, we look at the remaining elements. 9 minus 2 is 7. Yes, by including 2 also there was a solution. So we recurse into both these paths. Let's say we recurse, let's take this path as an example. So in this path, by excluding 5, yes, there was a solution that sums up to 4. So we took that path. Now by including 5, 7 minus 5 is 2. By including 5, no, there was no such path. So we only took this path. Okay, the advantage here is that by whenever there is a false choice, whenever we see a false choice, we don't need to take that direction. Okay, so there is a lot of recursive function. We can save a lot of function calls. Okay, let's just implement this solution. Alright, here is our function signature. We pass our table to this function and the starting cell. So starting cell will be the last cell. And we use a stack. Okay, we'll make a depth first search. So we look at both the exclusion and inclusion choice in the table. So to look at the exclusion choice, we look at the previous row but the same column. This is when there is a subset by excluding. Okay, so we just pass the same table and go to the previous row in the same column. This is one choice. Also we need to check by including, was there a subset? Okay, by including the current element. When we include the current element, we decrease the sum. Okay, we decrease the second dimension or the j. Okay, here by the way j represents the sum values. So when we include, what do? We call the same, but we move to the previous columns. Okay, the column corresponding to the decreased sum. And when we include, we add the element to our stack. Okay, let's push it to the back of the stack, the current element. And once we are done with that path, we just pop the stack, so that last element is gone. Okay, till how long does this continue? Till this will continue till we reach a some value of 0. Okay, till we get j is equal to 0. When j is equal to 0, that means our stack currently contains one of these subsets and we just need to print it. Okay, so let's just use our STL list, that is this stack. I'm just using an iterator to iterate over the elements. Let's just print the element here using star head. Let's give some space, and once we print all the elements in this set, let's add a new line and we return. Okay, this is the base condition. Now if we call this function here by sending our memory, let's execute this, and yes, we can get all these subsets, guys. Alright, now that this is done, let's look at how to reduce the space that we have used. Okay, now we have used a table of space, guys, 2-dimensional memory. Okay, in fact we don't actually need a whole table to find the solution to our given problem. Okay, why did we need this table? Because every time we needed to find the solution to two subproblems. Okay, one is when we exclude the current element and look at the previous row, and the other subproblem is when we include the current element and then look at the previous row in some other column before the current column. Okay, so those were the only times where we needed to look up in our table. Okay, so if you look at it, we don't actually need the entire table. For example, let's say I pick this cell, column 5 or row 4. I pick this cell. Now here, if I want to find the solution, at max, I only need just one particular row. The row before this, I just need the data in this row. Okay, I don't need anything else. And this is the same for every cell that you fill in this table. Okay, every time that you need to find the solution, you just need to have what is the previous value that is in to find a solution to that excludes a problem, and what is the solution to the included value. Okay, so somewhere in some previous columns that will be present. So we can model this table filling algorithm in such a way that we just use two rows of array. We just need an array with only two rows and these many number of columns, some columns. So that can reduce our space complexity to just big O of 2 into sum, that is big O of sum. And here, like before, we'll start by modifying that is filling the table in the first row, and then we move on to the second row and fill the table by looking at the previous row. Okay, now once this row is done, since we can't go to the next row, since we're only using two rows, we go on modifying the first row again. Okay, we go on modifying the first row again, and whenever we need to make a choice regarding the subproblem, that is whenever we need to look at the previous state or previous row, we look at the row below this. So we just we keep on looking at the alternate rows. If we are modifying the first row, we look at the second row, and if we are modifying the second row, we look at the first row. Okay, so because we are doing this because every time that we go on filling the values in any row, we need to look at the previous row, means how was the state of the system before we filled this row. This is equivalent to looking at the previous row when we were taking an entire table of memory. So here let's just take two arrays of memory, and here it will be sum plus 1 value, because we are including 0, we are storing for all the elements, so we have 10 columns. And here the first row and the first column are already taken care of. So whenever I is equal to 0, whenever we see first row, here we make that entry as false, and whenever we see the first column, we make that as true. Okay, so once the first row is taken care of, we move to the second row where this instruction gets executed. When we are at the second row, we can do I minus 1 and look at the previous row, or since we only have two arrays, we can do I plus 1 modulus 2, which will again go back to the first row. So what I mean by that is, here the index I is 1. If we look at the previous row, we just do I minus 1. But if we do I plus 1, that is 1 plus 1 modulus 2, we again circle back to the first row, which is what we want. We are doing this because we need to generalize this for when we are at both of the rows. Okay, next time when we are at the first row, if we do I plus 1 modulus %2, that is modulus 2, then we'll just end up only in 1. Okay, this is the behavior which we want. Okay, so let's just modify that. Instead of looking at the previous row, we do I plus 1 modulus 2. Similarly, here also we do the same thing. Similarly, whenever we are accessing the row, we need to circle back with a modulus of 2, and we continue to do the same thing for everywhere wherever we are accessing the row in our memory. Okay, this is modulus 2. And when we are returning, once this is done, when we are returning the final value, that is the last value in the table, since we are not using the table, we only need to circle back to just either of these two rows. Okay, first two rows. So to handle that condition, we again modulus, we do take a modulus here with 2. So for example, if our n was 2, okay, if we had only two elements in our total array, if n was 2, since we are not using this row, we will be circling back to this the first row itself. So 2 modulus 2 is 0. Okay, that way we will be accessing only the first row. That's all for this video. If you found it useful, please like, share, and subscribe. See you guys next time.